Morning, everybody. Welcome to the Power of the Tribe. Welcome home 2020. Today, he improves your speaking performance, breaks out of people with their fear of public speaking, or just bring your team together. Our next guest empowers you and lets you shine when you speak. He is a published author of Public Speaking for Teens, Get A's, Not Z's, as well as public speaking for the general population, Get A's, Not C's. He uses improv and just creativity to make people shine. I am so excited. Milo Shapiro. Welcome, Milo. How are you?
Good morning. First time I've done this with video, so I get to actually look at my interviewer. This is great.
Good. And everyone gets to see you, which is really so important when it comes to connecting. All right. So out the gate, improv. How'd that all come about?
I was in a Toastmasters group in the late 80s, and I went to a special Toastmaster offshoot called Laugh Masters, which was Toastmasters with an emphasis on humor. And one month, as a special guest, they brought in an improv troupe. Now, this is the 80s. Improv was not well known. There was no Whose Line Is It Anyway yet. And I sat there and watched them. I thought, oh my gosh, I should be doing that. That's amazing stuff. So I approached one of them afterwards and said, how does one learn to do what you do? That looks like so much fun. They said, oh, we're not even really a troupe. We're just a class. We were thrilled someone let us do a little show. So contact our teacher. They gave us the card. Gave me the card. And I contacted her. That was early 90, I think. And I started classes with her. That led to my first troupe. And now it's been 25, 30 years that I've been doing, 2020, it's 30 years that I've been doing improv, and anything from short games to longer shows. Right now I'm in a troupe called On That Note in Old Town, and we make up an hour-long musical every other week based on an interview. We interview a couple people in the audience, get some ideas out of them, and then we make up the songs, the story, everything right on the spot. It's a real thrill. So that's my improv troupe.
And so also you did an absolute shift. Weren't you in technology and a big wig and all of that?
Yeah, I was a computer programmer, eventually a project manager for the utility here in San Diego. And the utility changed names a couple of times, but I stayed at the same desk. And that was, good. It was good income. It was what my parents wanted me to do with my life, kind of thing. And but all my evenings and weekends were devoted to improv. I even used my vacation time to travel to Calgary and San Francisco to study with some of the masters in improv to get better and better. And then in '99, the company, after a merger, offered some of us voluntary separation packages. And I thought, if I'm ever going to take a jump in my life to do something different, more satisfying, more fulfilling than being a very good computer programmer and project manager, which I think I was, but not very satisfying, I thought I will spend the rest of my life wondering what if I don't do it now. So this could be really stupid. I'll be throwing away 4 weeks vacation and nearly 6 figures, and went off and just decided to start this company to do team building events using improv games. And the reason behind that thought, it wasn't something I thought up. It was already happening on the East Coast. No one in San Diego yet. Improv teaches us about listening skills, building on each other's ideas, creative problem solving. So while people are playing the games, hands go up and people go, that last game? That's what happens in our staff meetings. Or I have a client who pulls the same nonsense with me in our calls, and it's not funny then, but it was funny in this game. But how do I learn from this dynamic so we can do a better job in the real world? So we end up processing real work through the fun of the games. A lot of team building out there is, hey, let's have a great time together. Let's go on a picnic. Let's do go-karts. And then the next day, we're back to the same thing. We didn't learn anything. We just enjoyed each other's company. So if we can enjoy each other's company, which is valuable, and also learn a lot of things about the way we communicate and interact, it makes a difference. I've seen this program I give, team improvising, really transform the office space. One manager wrote to me and said, I feel like my whole day is now spent managing projects instead of managing interpersonal conflict anymore. You just set people up to work better together, all through games.
And that's so valuable because when it comes to leadership, that there is an absolute shift, because there's a shift going on with the demand in employees, and just even what that looks like. That when it comes to communication, when it comes to feedback, when it comes to just the team building. This is an amazing way of doing that subtly and yet being really effective.
Yeah, it is. When people first hear improv, they get scared. I think they'd rather go to the go-karts, but they don't realize I'm going to ease them into it very gently. Out of the hundreds of improv games I know, I've picked out ones that are simple enough for beginners to totally adapt to it very quickly. I'm not throwing them into anything as difficult as what you see on the TV show. Those are masters. Very simple little games. We do some that are whole circle where everybody contributes a little, and then I eventually work them up to paired exercises. So that's not so scary. You're only working with one person. I notice over time watching that who are the outgoing people. I ask if they might be willing to get up in front of the room. Usually they're excited to, they want to because they're the outgoing people. And little by little, I do get people to all be willing to do stuff a little bit in front of the room. And people end up saying, I didn't expect I was going to be able to handle this, or I don't see myself as creative. Well, most people who don't see themselves as creative just have never found an outlet and a comfortable way to do it. And the games themselves are so inherently funny that they don't have to work too hard. If they just participate, everyone's going to have fun.
I love that. The word, whether you're looking when you shifted and left the utility company to taking the chance and getting on stage and encouraging others, is courage.
Yeah.
So with your leadership style and courage, so let's ask that, being that the summit is celebrating inspirational leaders, which you are.
Thank you.
What is your secret to living life to the fullest and connecting with people?
Well, going back to the starting it, nothing in my life has ever been scarier. I don't think I was as nervous going off to college and leaving my family and living in the dorm. All those things that not even close to handing in that signed form to say I'm going to do it. So I think I'm a very pragmatic person in a lot of ways. So do your homework. I think people jump a little too blindly. Do your homework. And so I started looking into things. I had never gotten a healthcare plan before. I had never had anything like close to a business plan. I had never known how does one register with the city so your business is legal, or what would be involved in having a website. As it turns out, I did my own website because I had an IT background, but websites in 1990 were really simple. I would not try that today. Now I have someone much more professional doing that for me. And she just totally redid my site last year. I'm happy with that. But start doing your homework, because courage is a wonderful thing, but foolish courage is not going to serve you well. So at a certain point, you do have to jump into the abyss. And I had to hand in that paper really not knowing. And there was a lot of lessons along the way. I did not realize I would be spending way more time as a salesperson than I would doing team building events. And the team building events, just to complete the picture on that, people in my team building event kept saying to me, this is great for 20 people, but you got to be able to work big crowds. You should do like 100, 200 at a time, like a motivational speaker. And I said, I don't think motivational speakers can just lead games. Well, I looked into it, did more research, got involved with the National Speakers Association, and found out that a lot of meeting planners are craving interactive meetings. So I couldn't do it the whole time. I was right to that degree. So when I do my motivational speeches, about half the time is me talking, about half the time is me leading them in games, so that they are still learning the lessons of the games in a big space. Everyone's just paired up with the person next to them, and they're doing it in their seats. Can't do it for 4 to 6 hours like I can with team building, but for an hour, we can have a lot of fun and still learn a few lessons. So I had to learn how to do that. That was more of the research that was involved in that. And what I discovered over time was that, yes, I had to take a chance. I had to fail. That's one of my speeches is called, "We got to fail to succeed." And I got some great failures along the way. There's times when people did not relate, team building events where I didn't know how to connect with people. I had to learn along the way. And there were times I came home and I was like, what have I done? This is crazy. This it doesn't make sense. Here's a big one. Who am I to think I could? Is a big one that a lot of people deal with. And I've faced that many. I still face that. Every time I try something new, it's who do I think I am to do such and such? And you just say, you know what? Who I am is no less than anybody else who's done it. Every one of those people had their successes and failures. They just don't talk about their failures, so we feel like we're the only ones. And failure is a necessary, absolutely imperative part of ever reaching a next step. So just knowing that's part of what comes along the way. But one of the nice things about having the background in improv is based in failure. If your improv troupe is succeeding in 100% of their scenes in a show, I can almost guarantee you that you are playing it way too safe and not giving the audience the show they deserve. the troupe that I was with for 14 years, San Diego Theater Sports, has a theory, and our theory had a theory. We don't exist. Had a theory, and the theory was that only 80% of the show should succeed, because it's only if you're failing about 20% of the show that the other 80% can be truly brilliant. And so there were times we would try things that were really outlandish, and they would crash and burn. And after that scene, I would go up in front of the audience and go, well, that didn't work, did it? Let's try something else. And the audience, you can see them go, oh, good. He didn't think that was good either. Okay. And, it's just part of the fun of it. But then the next time we take something outlandish and it gets huge laughs, terrific. And you never know what that's going to be. But the other big troupe in town at the time that Theater Sports was on its roll, they did one of those 100% shows. They played the same games in the same order every week, and it was entertaining. But when I would catch them, it always felt just a little stale. Like, I know at this moment you're going to do something like this, and at this beat you'll do something like this, and it just always felt kind of the same. They were resting on their laurels.
So again, though, stepping out of your comfort zone and being open and authentic.
Yeah, the authentic thing is definitely real. There have been times where I've lost contracts, or where I have not come across as the right fit for somebody because I needed to be me and I wasn't the right fit for them. On the other side of my business, which hopefully we'll have a chance to talk about a little bit because you mentioned in the intro, my being a public speaking coach, there are times where in that phone call with someone, or even in the conversation, but more often on the phone call, I'll say to them, you know what, it doesn't sound like I'm the right fit for you, based on either your needs or the way you want to work together. Perhaps there's somebody else I can pair you with, because there's people in town that I wouldn't recommend, or places that just aren't as professional, and I know that this person is more like you. An example is, sometimes I really get the feeling that a woman really wants to work with another woman. I mean, probably more than half my clients have been women, but sometimes I just get that vibe from somebody. I'm like, maybe I should pair you up with someone who's a good fit. So we have to know where our strengths lay. And there have been times when I know somebody has contacted her and then contacted me and said, I felt like I wanted to work with someone who was a little bit more, how do I describe this? The woman that they started with was a little bit more about brightness and energy. They want to be a little more concrete. We want to work on the text. I want to come across more professional, and so I was a better fit for that one. Not that I can't do lightness and fun, but that was more her thing. Knowing your strengths and working them.
Let's speak about the public speaking piece, because it's just so crucial to be able to communicate and stand and express your ideas. And so what does that look like? Someone comes to you and says, I'm so afraid to get up and say anything, even at a meeting, or tell us what you provide for people, because this is so important and so exciting.
Sure. So I'd say about half the time that someone calls me, the word fear comes up within 3 sentences. It's really fast. I mean, sometimes not. There are people who just say, I'm not scared of it, I'm just not good. But most people, there's a certain amount of fear built into it, or at least that's a chunk. So the analogy I like to use on the fear is this. If I were your diving coach, and if you were a diver and you're on that high diving board and you're afraid to dive in, I could climb up on that edge of that board and I could work with you on breathing techniques, relaxation techniques, visualizing success. But if there's no water in that pool, chances are nothing I say to you is actually going to make you feel any better about that dive. So I don't see my job as to help you get over the fear initially. My job is to take you off the board and show you where the hose is and show you how we fill the pool, so that the next time you're on the edge of that board, maybe there's still a little bit of butterflies in the tummy, but it's a lot less scary because there's a nice soft pool of water to dive into. And even if you don't do it perfectly, we'll get better over time. So what is putting water in the pool in public speaking? It's showing you how to be the best speaker you can be, so that it isn't so scary, because you're going to go out there and do well. So that can look like working on your vocal variety, working on your organization of your material, incorporating humor more effectively, using better structure, using something I call the 4 steps to successful speech structure, which help you more likely get to a place of success when you're speaking. And what I find is, as people working one-on-one with me, not learning in front of a group, that's one of the problems with classes is if you're already scared to learn to speak in front of a group, how much even scarier is learning in front of a group? Do you really want to make your mistakes in front of 30 people, or in front of one person who's going to stop, give you some advice, and then cheer you on? It's one-on-one in coaching. So We can spend the entire session on 2 paragraphs if need be, or we can plow through and talk. Overall, everything is so customized to that person. And I love the classes. I've given wonderful classes with great people, but I have to leave knowing that if there was 20 people in there, each one got a 20th of my attention. And sometimes I might have spent 10 minutes talking about something that they didn't need to hear, or only 10 minutes on something where they should have spent half an hour because that's what they needed. So coaching, people grow so much faster. I've seen tremendous changes in 3 to 5 visits in people. And some people feel done at that point. Other people are like, let's keep going. And I've seen it change people's careers to keep going with it, because once you rise to that occasion, cover that fear, all of a sudden it's like the universe provides opportunities that you didn't notice before. I've had people say to me, this thing came up and I saw that it would be a great place to speak. And I said, I could do that, which, he or she might never have done before. And they'll say to me, isn't it amazing that it came right after I worked with you? I'm like, no, that opportunity probably, or ones like it probably came up, but your mindset wasn't to see this thing over here. So you missed it. Now that you're not afraid, opportunities start being in that peripheral vision for you. One of my clients, this is one of my favorite client stories. She came to me because she was afraid to talk at the weekly staff meeting. They'd go around the room, and by the time it got to her, she was breaking a sweat knowing that she had to talk for 3 to 4 minutes. So she came to me, and we initially worked on that, and then we worked on a bigger presentation she had coming up. Well, and she got better and more confident. Then about a month or so later, her boss said to her, by the way, the admiral is coming. I want you to do the briefing. She works for the Coast Guard. And she said, no, remember me? I'm the one who's scared to talk to my coworkers. He said, well, you may be scared, but you're the best one here now. So she briefed the admiral. On the way out the door, the admiral said, she's good. She should be the one to brief the congressman. When the
No.
yes. And she called me up. She's like, Milo, no, I'm not ready for congressman. I'm like, yeah, you are. We're just going to change it a little bit because the congressman doesn't know the Coast Guard quite as well. We need to supply some background information. We'll add another story at the beginning. I'm very big on stories because stories are a much better way to convey data than just listing data, which is what most people do. And the congressman came. And on the way out the door, he said, she's good. She should be the one to brief Trump's some sort of financial person. If I said the name, people in your audience might know it, but I can't remember the name off the top of my head. So she had to brief him. He recommended another congressman. She briefed that congressman. When she told me about it, I said, I won't say her name. It's on my website, but I won't say it for now. I'll just call her Lisa. Lisa, you didn't mention the word nervous anywhere in talking about what happened with the second congressman. And she went, oh, I think I was so excited by implementing the new things we discussed, I forgot to be nervous. I said, then I think we've come a long way. And now she's like the go-to person in her whole area. She does, when people retire, she's always the one who gets up and makes the speech. And just, in a year or so, to see this amazing transformation with her, it's so heartening and helps me to feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to.
As an inspirational leader, yes, that's a beautiful story. What a gift.
Yeah, it's wonderful. When I went from doing more speaking to more coaching, and I still love speaking, it's a lot of fun. But to be perfectly honest, from a business point of view, there are more people who know they need to get better at speaking than there are conferences looking for a motivational speaker. So my business has gone more toward coaching, and that's fine. And what I think over time is, while I'm a good speaker, and I think I do a great job up there in general, I think my gift is a little bit more toward helping people find the best in themselves.
I love that. Okay, the one tip, it's for one of the women that are in the audience, and they're just like Lisa, petrified. What's the first thing you would tell them?
Make sure, let's say, okay, if I'm talking from the fear point of view rather than the organizational structure, I would say that we are often given a really not so good message with good intention about being a speaker, and that it's not about you, it's about them. And I know the good intention behind that. The problem with that is that it puts too much pressure on the speaker to be all about a room full of people, many of whom you may not know, who may not have had a good day, who may have other problems on their mind, who, for no reason that is your fault, your topic isn't particularly what they're wanting to hear that day. So I like to say to them, remember that it's not about you. This is not about you, your chance to shine. And it's not about them because we can't control where their minds are at. It's simply about the message. And if you feel you have served the message to the best of your ability, that's all anyone can ask of you. And just keeping that in the back of your mind can be a real stress reliever for a lot of people. Like, you know what? I had to convey these points to them. I did it in a way that was organized. I used stories to bring out the points so that people would follow it. And I rehearsed it. And I think I did a good job of conveying that. That's an A.
So it keeps it nice and something simple for them to focus on, so then they can just then move forward. I like
Did
that.
I get the message across well? Not did they love me? What did they think of me? Did I motivate them? Are they changed by it? Did you convey the message to the point where if they wanted to love it, that they could? That's all we can hope for.
That's so helpful. Okay, so we're days away from the new year. It's not only going to be a new year, it's a new decade. What's in store for Milo?
Oh gosh, I'm starting the year with something I haven't done a whole lot. I have on my website, because it's come up a couple of times, doing large group Simon Says. I have some fun video from when it's come up when a meeting planner asked me to do that, but I don't do it a lot. And out of the blue, 2 organizations up in the Midwest. I've never actually been to the Midwest, and I never wanted to go in January, I will tell you that. But I'm going to Minneapolis and Detroit in January to lead large group Simon Says. My record is I got 800 people down to a winner in 14 minutes. I hope I never have to do that again. Not that size, that much time, but that was how much time they had and how many people, and I did get to a winner. So that's in store for me. I'm also revamping 2 of my books. Oh, writing a new one, really. I'm doing a second edition on public speaking, get A's, not Z's. Just some of the references and some of the ideas. I'm a better coach now than I was in 2007 when the first book came out. And there's references in there like, know anyone who uses a PDA anymore? Most of my younger millennial people won't even know what that stands for, right? So there's things, it's time to update a few of those things. So that's happening. And I'm writing a sequel specific for people in the medical world, medical professionals, whether it's doctors, nurses, insurance, clinics, anything where someone's in the medical field, because I've had so many requests. Medical and like engineering types are 2 of the biggest groups of people who come to me saying I need to be a better speaker. So I'm customizing one of the books specifically for medical professionals, and I'm excited that there's already interest in that book.
That sounds like you're actually listening to your audience and definitely going to take the Z's out of those really dry speaking engagements.
The reason I wrote the book in the first place, because there were so many books on the market, and as I read each one of them, I was like, these are boring. I mean, I love speaking, and I'm not getting through these books. So I wanted to write books that were entertaining. So I do it all with top 10 lists. The top 10 ways to alienate your audience in 10 seconds. The top 10 ways to blow it with your handouts. And hearing some of the places where I've messed up along the way. I've had a lot of people say, I bought the book thinking I ought to read it. I ended up finishing it. I don't finish most of the books that I buy, but it was so much fun to read. And of course, when people are having fun and you're teaching, they get the lessons. They stick more.
I love that. And again, the other component to inspirational leaders is the zest part, and you have to have fun.
Yeah, people learn better through play than anything else. But we have this attitude, so, well, I'm a grown-up, I shouldn't need to play. Well, let go and look to science, because science tells us that everything in the animal kingdom, including humans, learns best through play. So incorporate play into everything you're doing. You're likely to more successful.
Thank you for coming today. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and all the best in the year.
So we're going to be doing a year-long journey with the women virtually. You want to come back and play in the house at some time?
That would be nice.
Okay, good. Thank you for coming today. It was a true pleasure. And best wishes with the revisions.
Thank you.
And the Simon Says, have to find the update on that.
It should be fun to hear how it goes, because there's definitely room for failure with me up there trying to remember everything that's going on. And so all the women who are out there listening, I wish you a great 2020. If I could be helpful in any way, my website is Milo, M-I-L-O, Shapiro, S-H-A-P-I-R-O, MiloShapiro.com. I wish you all the best.
We are absolutely going to have all the links, and that this way everyone can get to know you further. And great. Thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Oh, well, real quick, if they get on my mailing list, they're going to get some extra gifts. And go to my blog, the blog page, sign up, and you get my newsletter, so you'll get updated tips and ideas all year long, like 4 to 6 times a year, not all year long. And that'll give you a chance to keep up that learning.
All right, good. We're looking forward to having the links and having the free gifts, so this way everyone can get to see more of you.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.